Hey folks, welcome back to Railguns and Dragons. We're going to be talking about Chaos Earth again. We're going to be continuing along with our series where I left off. We had done the Chaos Core book and then the Creatures of Chaos. Now we're going to be talking a little bit about Chaos Earth, sourcebook Rise of Magic, which is compatible with regular Rifts and Chaos Earth itself. Love the cover. I love the different things that show up on the cover here. This is just an overview video, just so you know. Ask the DM at theevildm.com is my email address. You can comment below. If it's your first time here, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the video as well. So this book presents magic in the world of Chaos Earth itself. And it's an overview. It's a small book. It's about 64 pages. 72 clocks in because we have a bunch of art and we have an index in the back, which is very helpful. But page 72. Nothing is what it seems in the ever-changing setting of Rift's chaos. The first cataclysm, the great cataclysm, and then the collapse of human civilization, followed by demon plagues, and now magic has returned to Earth in ways nobody has ever imagined. Ordinary people were developing magical powers and spellcasting abilities. Some of them use their powers for good, others for their own gain, and others to kill and destroy. The secrets of magic wait inside for you. We get 8 new types of practitioners of magic: Zone Wizards, Chaos Wizards, D-Shifters, Chaos Witch, Demon Bringer, Demon Caller, and others. 5 subclasses of Chaos Wizard. More than 100 new and different spells, which take up a good portion of the book, I want to let you know. Compatible with Rifts, so you can import these classes into Rifts if you'd like, or use it with Chaos. Endless possibilities, as they always say. The book was about $13 when it first came out, but now it's obviously a lot more than that. Is this book really needed in your campaign? I don't really know. I mean, if you really want to add the magic factor to it, sure. But I wanted to read some of the, because they had some really cool, as usual with Rifts or anything Palladium, they have really cool story and backstory. Again, with this, we get General Sawyer's journal, and we take a look back before everything, and so it gives you his point of view in the journal as far as what's going on in the world at the time, and it gives you a good setup of where things are at this point when this book is coming out. So it's 9 days since the world has crumbled. We left Atlanta, Georgia in flames on Christmas Day. There was nothing we can do. The situation was completely out of hand. If we stayed, my troops and I would be another part of the death toll. I have never witnessed such destruction in my entire life. By now, the entire city must be reduced to smoldering ruins. I can't imagine more than 20 to 30% of the civilian population managed to escape. Even those numbers might be far too optimistic. So you get a good idea when he's describing it, how much of the actual population is actually probably surviving these situations. So it took them 6 days to reach Chicago. He lost 10% of his Nema troops under the command along the way. They picked up 350 peacekeepers and saved a few thousand civilian lives, most of which were making their way to Chicago as he writes these words. So he started this journal so he can catalog the events as they were happening, because he really couldn't believe what was happening to him in the world at this point. So the world, I'll skip down right here, where cities remain reasonably whole are plagued by riots such as dog eat dog. An end of the world attitude engulfs the population, and that's where about absolute mania, terror, and chaos have already won out completely. So along the way from Atlanta to Chicago is where they started to move the forces to, or the major part of the forces, so they can consolidate and fight back. And Chicago was considered, I guess, a good heartlands, good heart of America to actually be able to protect and help United States, Canada, and I guess Mexico at that point. But Mexico is kind of lost anyway. But January 1st, no New Year's celebration. So we're getting more into the mood of what they're doing. Just another day in hell. Any celebration among civilians was kept quiet with soft-spoken prayers and hugs. For me and my crew, it was snuffing out fires, fending off monstrous assailants, and helping more than 2,000 people find shelter and food for the night. They just keep coming. the disenfranchised and the homeless. Sergeant Nelson calls them the walking wounded, but they're not much better off. And we're not much better off. So the good news is nothing outside unusual happened, but we're still on guard from midnight to 1800 hours. Now they're going for some rest. We go to January 2nd. It seems like they've slept for ages because it's the first time he's gotten good sleep then. Then January 4th, he seems a little bit more optimistic about things, as maybe moving the forces to Chicago was a great idea for working with the U.S. itself, Canada, and Mexico. And then January 8th, they're talking more about the blue zones and how the blue zones are definitely trouble, and intersecting blue zones are really a lot of trouble at this point. Talks about the demon plague, how the demons are just flying out of the two sections where the blue lines cross, and they rip open portals, and these demons, and you would use the Creatures of Chaos book, which is the other book we talked about the last time, for how many of these creatures are coming out at a time, and it's just not good. They talk about how St. Louis completely is lost at this point. They get a radio signal from St. Louis to come over to help. They head over to St. Louis, and it's nothing but flames, fire, and destruction. St. Louis, gone. The gold, what's the arch they talked about? Looks like it's just a giant, big arch on fire that's just fell out of space. January 11th, they feel like they're getting a little bit more of a handle on things as they're pushing things back with all the blue zones. They didn't have a good idea of what the blue zones were at first, but now they have a better idea. And they feel like, we're doing a good idea here. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. And then January 2nd, which is 11 days later, the optimism has absolutely failed as things have gone from somewhat good and bad to worse. They have demons constantly trying to penetrate the perimeter via blue zone influence. They keep breaching the defenses. The demon plagues keep coming nonstop. Alien invaders now, and then the weather itself from these chaos storms, the blue zones and everything are just unrelenting on this area. And as the demons and everything, all these monsters are trying to break into Chicago, and they are trying to defend it as much as possible. And then they give you in January 3rd, it's been confirmed where two or more blue lines meet, the energy flares and surges can occur at random rip open portal in space and time. And this is where you could say that this rip in the blue line pulls in player characters from other campaigns that you have going on. Like maybe someone from Heroes Unlimited comes flying through, or people from a fantasy campaign, or someone from I'm trying to think of another game. Well, whatever. Nightspawn. Maybe someone from there comes in. So this is where you can kind of start bringing in different things to the campaign. And then we talk a bit about, it's February 14th. It's Valentine's Day, but it's more like Valentine's Day Massacre for them. More backstory. I'll let you read all the backstory. They talk about when the chaos reigns on the earth and everything, what DBs, a new enemy, dimensional beings, finally are what they call DBs, start flooding in through the rifts, and now that's another thing they have to deal with. Then we got the rise of magic as people start showing magical abilities and start having these abilities that they didn't have before. And not talking about psionic abilities, magical abilities. And generally they're with children or teenagers that just possess these abilities. So that's a new problem that they have to deal with on top of everything else. And then they talk about how the blue zones are a danger and a phenomenon, and different ways that the magic is being affected in there, a little bit further than it did in the original core book itself. And the next episode, I'm going to try to keep these short, but next episode, we're going to talk about the new sorcerer classes that they have, and the servants of evil and darkness, such as the Chaos Witch, Demon Bringer, Demon Caller, Necromancer, and Doomslayer, which is a hell of a lot of stuff to go over. So I'll keep that for a separate video. All in all, this book, I'd pick it up. It's something different. It has, I'll give you a peek, but there is just a ton of new abilities and spells in here that you can have. And look, I'm just flipping through the pages right now that you can use somewhat. Anyway, tell me what you think about this book. Have you used it? And have you played Chaos Earth at all? because I know a lot of people forget about Chaos Earth and they skip right to Rifts. And I think Chaos Earth is a wonderful game for new players that are getting into stuff, because they can help see, or help formulate and help see how the Rift world is kind of going to become, and you can be a part of it as well. And you can, your characters in the future Rifts campaign could actually find stuff from this campaign of other campaigns that you ran. So other characters like, Sergeant Tom. Oh, Sergeant Tom led this division, and here's some relics of his, fighting in the war. And it could be kind of a cool callback to your other campaigns. That's why I recommend Chaos Earth. So with that said, I'm going to head out. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night. God bless everybody. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Good night.
Don't ever laugh as the hearse goes by, for you may be the next to die. They wrap you up in a big white sheet, from your head down to your feet. They put you in